Hello, welcome back to the We're Not From Hollywood podcast. I'm Brandon Reines.
And I am Faizel John Monmouth, and today we are talking to Uncle Dave Macon. I always mean to ask you, Dave, do you know who Uncle Dave Macon is?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Okay, I always meant to ask you about him
yeah,
because
yeah,
like I used to listen to him a little bit back like way back when I was listening to banjo shit. And
yeah,
like yeah, when I met you, I was like, wait a minute. I've heard that name before.
yeah,
Brandon, if you don't know, he's like an old banjo player. Like he does
Yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I think I've
yeah.
heard of him. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
Dave Macon
Yeah,
is
yeah.
he's the director of the new sci-fi comedy movie 115. I went to the premiere of it last week, and I worked on the original screenplay for the movie. And Dave, this was his first film. He just jumped in and made his first movie, which I'm sure took a lot of passion and sacrifice and perseverance. So maybe tell us how'd you get interested in making a movie to begin with?
Why am I interested in making a movie? Well, I actually wasn't making interested in making a movie. That's the reason why I made it. I made a movie because it was so different, so far from what I normally am. So my background is a science background. I actually am, used to be a pharmacist. I went to school for pharmacy, UBC, grew up as an Asian kid, and Asian kids are forced to study day and night and get marks, man. If you don't get good marks, they beat the shit out of you.
I
So
feel you.
yeah, so that was my background. So I studied, started counting pills, and I did that for many, many years. So my world was very scientific. That's all I knew. I knew nothing else. And so when the COVID hit, I had a lot of time to contemplate and think about my life, and I started waking up. And I really started thinking things didn't make any sense to me. And I felt like I was living in some sort of video game. It didn't seem real to me because the things that were happening around the world, there's no way they could be true. But it was true. So then I thought, okay, well, if all this is true, and theoretically I think it's a video game, how do I prove it? So I thought I shouldn't be able to do something that's so different from what I'm normally used to. So I ran a bunch of hypermental, theoretical mental mind experiments in my mind on things that I could do that should be not be possible. And one of those things was making a movie. The other thing was actually starting a music band, both of which I know nothing about because I know nothing about movies. I know nothing about music band. And so I theorized that if this was a real world, right? I shouldn't be able to do anything that I was thinking about. So really the movie was made as an experiment. And I love your title, you know, movies made by people that are non-Hollywood. And I'm a non-Hollywood guy. I'm a non-industry person. I actually, don't like going to the parties. And a lot of times when you do win an award, they kind of swarm you. A bunch of people swarm you and it feels very weird. And I actually don't like it because a lot of them, especially the Asian women, they give you these cards that are like kind of like scan cards, and it's got all their data on it, and it's like, I'm willing to move, if you're making a Western movie, I'll become white. I don't know, something like that. But the problem is I don't have any other project, and people ask me what's my next project. I actually don't have any project. I'm not a movie person. And so yeah, that's my answer. That's why I made the movie.
So do you consider this just like just one thing you wanted to accomplish in your life, but you don't plan to pursue it as a career? Like do you want to do another one, or is this like you've satisfied that itch kind of thing?
That's a great question. That's a great question. The problem is a lot of times I don't think I know what I want. That's the honest truth. A lot of times we get sucked into other people's um, ideas, and so ever since I started finishing this movie, and the movie's got a lot of awards, my mind has been sucked into that realm. Is like maybe I should make another movie because everybody wants to see another movie, and people think it's good or something. But I know I never really had an intention to make another movie. No, my intention was to prove a theory and see if this experiment was correct or not. My real answer is I really, really don't know because my life is based right now on experiments, and then I have another experiment after this movie, which is non-movie related. And the way I see it is, if that experiment is true, then that opens up more doorways because this experiment came true. So then it allowed me to think about other things. if this movie didn't was not successful and it didn't do what it was supposed to do, which is win awards, right? Because I had certain metrics, and when I first met you, you asked me why am I making this movie, and I was very clear. I'm making this movie to win awards, nothing else. It had nothing to do with money, and this is one thing that people just don't understand, right? The thing with me is I have high clarity. I am so clear in my mind of what I want and what I'm going to do. I have no doubt and no wandering of what my vision is, right? And so when we first met, I remember we first met, went to the mall at Subway or something,
Yeah,
or and
I
we
absolutely
talked,
remember.
and yeah,
Southgate?
and
Did you just take everyone to
yeah,
Southgate Mall?
yeah. And you asked me, well, what are you doing? And I was like, and I tell everybody, I'm making this movie so I can win an award, right?
Yeah,
That's all I was interested.
you definitely accomplished that. But like I know so many
Yeah,
people I know so many people in the industry that they're like, I want to make a movie, I'm gonna do that, and then years go by, a decade more,
yeah,
and they still haven't done
yeah,
it. So
yeah,
every time I meet someone, it's kind of like, is this another guy that's gonna be all this talk, and then 15 years later he still hasn't done it? But it's like you did it. You went through all the steps, you figured it all out, and you got
yeah,
the movie done, and it won awards like you wanted. And it's like,
yeah,
yeah, like if you never do anything in another movie again, it's like you followed through with what you did, and that
yeah.
deserves a lot of
Made
respect
one
because
that
it's
made
not
won
easy.
awards.
So my next thing, experiment has to do with pyramids. I'm interested in building a pyramid, a small one, not a big one, maybe the size of a house or something. And I like to do some experiments, see if it's what the theories are. They have all these theories on pyramids, and I have my own theory,
Well, I was gonna ask,
right?
are
And I
you
want to,
working on like the batteries and the razors and the all of the like little pop culture theories that people have about pyramids?
my theory is it. I'm open to everything. I don't really have. I'm clear in building it and in a certain engineering way,
Hmm.
and I want to see what it does, right? And I don't really want to state what it does, but I'm open to all those ideas that it batters, it produces electrical battery
Currents.
power, like from the
Yeah, like an electrical
potential of
field
the
essentially.
sky and the earth.
All right, yeah, we had some technical problems, but we're back,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
let's
We're
get back
back.
to it.
Tell us more about these pyramids. What are you doing with the pyramid?
sure. Well, I haven't built it yet, but I bought some land. We have a vortex in Canada. It's nearby Camrose. Initially, I wanted to buy some land in Camrose, but I met with some people that are familiar with this stuff, and they said that's not a good idea. And now that I'm finished this movie, now I can continue with this project that I have. I would like to see what happens. I'm just curious because I'm disconnected. I don't believe anything from the internet. I don't believe anything from the news. I think it's all bullshit. I think it leads you to counting pills, going back to being a pharmacist. That's where it leads you. You know, it's a world made to dumb you down. And like I was in Miami. I was recently in Miami and in the science fiction film festival, and AI is a big topic there. And every single movie I saw was like AI is dangerous. AI is not good for man. We all know that, of course. But I hated the movie. I actually walked out of the movie, and the film festival director said, "Why'd you do that?" I was like, "This is propaganda. This is what propaganda does. What it does is it makes humans seem so weak, so fragile that they're literally scared of a computer." Right. And that's what they want. You got to understand, like us humans, we're so majestic. We're amazing. We could build an AI. And yet, the general population is like scared of AI because they think they're going to take over the job. And I was like, that's complete bullshit. Think about it. Really, really, really think about it. Really think about it. You created this and you're scared of it. Like we're so beyond an AI. Like humans are so majestic, so smart, so special. There really shouldn't be any fear of this AI. And the AI has already existed. But that's what being connected does to you. Being connected to you makes you feel stupid and dumb and worthless. And so that's why I'm not connected to it. And I don't read anything. I have no idea what's going on in the world. I think like someone told me there was a fire somewhere, and I had no idea what they was talking about. And it's like it's all bullshit.
Do you think there's any credence to the idea that it's just basically another tool to increase productivity? Where I'm coming from is like when cell phones came around, those are the things that we could never really see what it would lead to. What I think it's led to now is
Yeah.
like this increased level of being able to be watched, being able to like keep your productivity counted. So
Yeah.
like it keeps things, not that it's taking, well, yeah, it's taking people, it's making jobs worse. I'm gonna put it that way. So do you think there's any credence to the idea that AI will make jobs worse?
What do you mean, like work jobs? Meaning like you can't find a job, or jobs harder?
I mean, yeah, for jobs harder. Harder is a
Yeah.
relative
Yeah.
term. For
Yeah.
example, in
It's
the tech
easy.
sector,
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of like in a move towards productivity, a move towards like you have to be doing something every minute of every day.
Yeah, it's easy. The AI is going to probably give you like 10% usefulness. The other 90% is completely you're sucked in because they've been programming you. So what happens is, like, a good example is, let's say, the pharmacy business. I can relate a lot to the pharmacy business because that's my business. I know everything about the
Absolutely.
business.
Yep.
Okay. When AI comes to pharmacy, it's going to help the pharmacist not do specific work. And then they're going to give the pharmacist more other type of work, and the pharmacist will still be overloaded and still be doing a bunch of useless nonsense work. And most jobs will be like that. Well, they'll implement the AI and help the AI with, let's say, accounting. But then they're going to create a bunch of brand new work for the worker.
Keep people
And the
busy.
accountant is going to keep doing more reports and all this stuff, and it still end up exactly the same. You end up doing exactly the same amount of work every day, sitting it in front of an office in a computer, going home tired, going back on the computer. So nothing actually really changes. Few people that actually does change are the people that you never ever see that actually probably control this world. Because my belief is sentient AI has already existed for many, many, many years. It doesn't make sense to me that the guy who made a sentient AI, which is ChatGPT, or a group, they claim it's a group, right?
I was gonna say, do you think ChatGPT counts as a sentient AI at this point, or
No,
an
no,
AI?
it's not a sentient AI, but it's proof that a sentient AI exists. Because you got to understand, if this is a free product that they're giving you for no money, and you got to pay $350 for Microsoft Office, then what does the government of the United States have? You just think about it. Just play a hypothetical mental mind experiment. First of all, you got to understand, why is it free? It can only be free because it's been pre-existed, and you can't sell it.
Well, I mean, we know this because DeepSeek just came out recently, and like that was a thing that just was even cheaper and even more efficient than what the
Right.
existing models are.
Right. And so, like, AI has already existed. We public just only have access to Chat GPT, but it doesn't matter. I don't think it affects to a real human, which is like the Amish, which have no technology, nothing. You give them an AI, it doesn't affect them. They're not scared of it. But you give it to the mass public who's connected to the internet, they're very scared of it. They're like, oh my God, it's going to take over my
Because
job.
we rely on like this mode of production, whereas like I'm what I'm picking up from you is like the Amish, their basic mode of production is farm, grow.
No, no, no. I'm saying an Amish is a person that is truly still a human. People have
Their
been
connection to like producing their means of production. Like what makes
no, no.
them.
If Faizel, if you were my child and I raised you to never ever be dependent on a machine to do anything, are you scared of the AI? No, you have no fear of the AI. You have your natural intuition. You have your basic ability to make decisions. You're very smart. But when I give you a bunch of stuff and you grow up using it, let's say my child is, she grows up using ChatGPT, and then you take the ChatGPT away from her, she can't do anything. She has a lot of fear. She's dependent on it.
And that's what I think I'm picking up from you is like what you're saying, and I'm just using the Amish as an example in the example that we're using. I think I know what you're talking about in terms of like the Amish have a direct relationship with their means of production. I need food. I'm going to grow out and grow food and cook food and eat food. Whereas me, I'm going to take me as the example. I have a less direct relationship with my means of production. I go to the office, I fix the computer, they pay me, I take the money to the store, I buy the food, and then I do it. Am I getting that right? And that like basically
You're getting a basic understanding of it, but there's more to it because the Amish are more intuitive than a normal human. They're intuitive, but they're intuitive in such a way where if you go back and you had to build something, they don't have any plans, they don't have any maps, they have nothing. They just build a structure from straight up. They don't have to draw it out because they're more intuitive. They have more telepathic ability. to
What
communicate.
what makes you think they have that? Is it because they haven't been exposed to technology, whereas
Yeah,
we have?
because
Do you
I
think
have that.
do you think it's
Like,
something in technology that suppresses something
yes,
in
yeah,
us?
absolutely,
Break it down
absolutely,
for me.
man. Well, first of all, you understand, how did caveman communicate? They don't even have any English vocabulary. They have to have, back then, they must have had some sort of telepathic ability or body language or reading or something, some sort of understanding. And then you go forward in time and they could build stuff. They don't have any books, right? How could they build stuff? So even the pyramid is a good example. How can you build a pyramid with no books and computers? You know how much data you need,
I mean, that's what we've been
right?
talking about for decades, for centuries. How they built those fucking pyramids. Like,
Yeah, and
what are you doing?
I'm telling you,
Tell me.
no, what I'm trying to explain to you, if you have more technology, it reduces your human ability to do things. So if more technology doesn't help you. You can't build a pyramid with more technology. You need less technology. You need to be able to be telepathically have all this idea in your head. And then you turn to a point and say, this is 100% north, just like birds or something. And that you could build the pyramid. Because if you had to build a pyramid from pure technology, you can't build it. It's impossible. The reason being is to be so accurate, pure north, and to build it on a piece of land and never have the land shift for hundred thousands of years is impossible. You can't build it. And so you have to have a higher knowledge of the earth, physics, and the stars. And so this is why I say, you know, this AI thing, if you really, really have this telepathic ability or some sort of intuitive feeling, right? You're not very scared of it. Like, it can't do you any harm.
I agree. So is that, if I'm picking that up right, is that what your experiment is moving towards now? Is you're going to try and build pyramids without any technological involvement?
No,
Because I was
no,
imagining you in a little digger and like a,
no, no. So,
oh,
so the experiment has nothing to do with building it, because build a small scale a pyramid is easy. It's a piece of
mhm.
cake. To build a large size, the size of Giza, is impossible, because after 2 years, the thing would have shifted already. It would have sank left, or it would have sank right, or it would have turned 0.01 degrees. There's no way it could stay exactly the same for 12,000 years. There's no way that it would never ever shift for 12,000 years unless you had advanced concepts and ideas, right? And so the whole pyramid thing is not difficult because of the and this is where they try to fool you. This is, if you read any pyramid book, it's going to say they talk about moving the stone.
Mhm.
That's not relevant, man. Moving the stone is easy. Moving the stone's easy, but they want to fool you. So you really never think about the other things, which is the actual engineering and the idea of how you could possibly even do it. Try to choose a location and use the technology right now we have right now, and you'll get it wrong. And it's easy. Just build it and let it stay for 100,000 years or 12,000 years, and it's going to move. And every single structure in this world that we've ever built is like that, right? We've never built anything that can't move for like 12,000 years, right? Because they just take some piece and they just put it on top of the land, but you need more knowledge than that, right?
Where do you think we lost it? Where do you think there's a definable point in history, I guess, where you can say like this is where we started to lose that
Yeah,
higher
in the
level?
80s, probably starting in the 80s.
Okay, any specific thing in the 80s that happened?
Mass media.
Okay.
I would say mass media. Mass media is probably the biggest thing that would probably deteriorated our ability to think for ourselves. Because once TV was invented, right? Um, I became like literally a sitting addict, right? And
Yeah,
so,
I can agree
right,
to a certain
and
degree.
so once they figured that out, and there's a lot of words that they use. They use the word programming, right? I don't understand why they even use that word programming. Program could be because that's the stuff they want to feed us, right? And whatever my movie is a good example. I was fed 80s programming, so I make an 80s movie. And if they fed me something else, I would have made that movie. And that's the knowledge base I have based on my programming, right? And the only reason I don't have 90s and 2000s because I've kind of cut myself off. But I would say mass media is probably the biggest thing that took away and slowly, and you see your eyes, right, digest information,
Hmm.
right? It takes it in and it feeds it. It's like it's giving you data. And my whole theory is, if and they have this theory called the holographic universe, where everything is really a projection. and it becomes 3D. If it is a projection, then you should be creating the reality through your eyes, like through as a projection. But they reverse that. And so most people that live in fear and low frequency and being scared, because they're not projecting, they're ingesting, right? They're not creating the reality they want, right? They're taking in the reality that they give you through programming.
So how does one break themselves out of that? How does the one switch from projecting to projecting to from ingesting to projecting?
I'm not smart enough to answer that. I'll be honest. I am not smart enough to answer that, man. I think it's very difficult because this whole world is like that. I lived that world for 48 years, man, where, I was led to believe that I was a success, and it makes no sense to me. And I always thought to myself, why is counting pills a success? Like, that makes no sense to me, like I'm a smart guy and all my friends were smart. Yet we're all counting pills. Does that really make us smart? And then, you come in farms and I give you a bottle and I tell you take 1 tablet 3 times a day. And that's my job, right? And that's how dumbed down I was. So I can't really tell you. This goes deeper than that. I don't know.
That's fair.
I don't know how to do it, right? But I know what made me and why I had that problem for a long, long, long time. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would put forward this is my personal rambling. Brandon, I'm so sorry that you have to listen to the two of us go back and forth because Brandon just hasn't chimed in the whole minute. He's just like, okay. But I mean, I would put forward. This is my personal thought. Is like you said, you counting pills. It's that divorce from your means of production. It's that divorce from we're a task-based being. Like you give us a thing, we're supposed to be able to take a thing, do the thing, complete the thing. You don't agree?
No, we're mission-based people.
Well, I mean, I see the difference where you say between task and mission. I'll agree. We are mission-based people. We need something to accomplish to go do the accomplishment thing. When you and the way that we're living now is kind of unnatural to that. The way that we're living now is we're counting seconds. We're ticking the clock.
Yeah, I know, and they know that. Everything is a cycle. They know that. We're like a bunch of monkeys, and they're feeding us bananas. And the bananas are cars, sex, food, whatever. I know that. I recognize that, and they know that too. And most of us here, are too busy working and being scared and having debt, and so we don't recognize it. But
I've always heard that old saying: you want people to lose also any sense of empathy, give them a job. Because like you just lose sense of everything else. I don't care what you're up to. I gotta get to my job and then clock in my job and do my job. I can't notice you on the street dying.
All right, well, to take this back to filmmaking, as this is a filmmaking podcast. So Dave, what's happening now with 115? Now that it's out, is it like where can people watch it? What's the next step with it?
The next step for me, well, people still have to wait to watch it because it has to finish the festival run. After finish the festival run, then you got to put it on Film Hub, and then after Film Hub, then it'll go to a streaming service, something like Prime Video or something. But that won't happen until probably September. In the meantime, you just have to see. There's a lot of online festivals. If you want to watch it, just send me an email, and I'll send you a link to some sort of online festival that it might be playing at. You can watch it, but otherwise, you just wait, watch the trailer. That's it. But most of the audience, I feel like most of the audience that want to watch it already watched it. So the people out there that still want to watch it, I don't know who is. I don't think there's that many. Yeah, they can always contact me. It's really coming towards the end. The cycle's the experiment's almost over. And so
is there anything you'd say to the people? I guess you've definitely collected fans over the course of this experiment, of this cycle. People have seen your film. They want to know what's next, what's happening. Is there anything you'd want to say to them directly who are listening? Keep living the mission.
I have things to say to filmmakers because please. Okay, so first of all, any filmmaker out there that's brand new who knows nothing, okay, knows nothing. When we make these type of movies, these small independent movies, you know who the audience is? The audience is other filmmakers, man. The audience is not real people. Don't misunderstand that, man. That's a bunch of bullshit. Because I've gone to every single festival, not every single festival. I've gone to a lot of festivals now, right? And who shows up? The filmmakers. They're just filmmakers, other filmmakers that have made movies that are in the festival, or filmmakers that want to make a movie, or screenwriters. They're people that are in the industry. That's your audience, okay? They're not real people. To get real people into the theater is almost impossible right now. So forget that.
Yeah, festivals are just other filmmakers, which is not your audience. So yeah.
Yeah, but even you guys, you guys show an interest. The people that are really interested in this movie are truly either people, my friends, or people I know, but they're not random people. They just like, most of them are like that, but the majority of them are other filmmakers. If I meet a filmmaker somewhere and I tell him I made a movie, he's interested, and I'm interested in his movie, right? So that's our audience, kind of, right? Or other filmmakers, is what I'm trying to state. But for filmmakers that want to make a movie, I have a lot of things to say to them. You have to ask yourself, am I aligned? That means my spirit, my soul, and my body. Is it aligned? Do I have the clarity of vision? Clarity of vision is you have no doubt, you have no fear that this is what you're supposed to do. Think about all these questions and ask yourself, because there is a possibility that you might have been hijacked. What does that mean? That means you're hanging around somebody. You're hanging around Dave. Dave made a movie, and you're like, oh, maybe I'll make a movie. Right? Is that really you? It might not be, right? Because this is our world that we're so used to taking in our eye. We never really project out what we think, right? What we want to do, and if we really want to do something, we might be scared, right? If like there's some kid out there that really wants to make a movie, but his friends are like, no, we need to make lots of money on stocks. That's what we need to do, right? So he gets hijacked and doing stocks, and he never makes a movie. That's just my two bit, and that's the honest reason why films are not finished. And I truly believe that, because if you really, really want to make a movie and you have no doubt in your mind, this is what you're supposed to do, and this is the clarity of vision that you want, right? That movie would have been done, even if I gave you $50, $100, or $100,000, right? You will get it done somehow, right? The only difference is we all want something more than what we have. So when I set out to make this movie for $100,000 and I showed it to people, people were like, wow, this is a high budget movie, a high concept. I didn't think it was high concept. I thought it was this thing. So if you gave me $5,000, I would just dumb it down to make a $25,000 movie, right? Which is still way over my $5,000 budget, right? But that's how we all think. But getting it done, you can get it done. I have no doubt in my mind that we all can get it done, right? You just need the clarity and the alignment that this is what you're supposed to do. And you have no doubt, you have no fear that you're going to get this done.
Thanks, Dave. That was a very, very interesting. I'm glad you. I was with you since the beginning, and you finally got the movie finished. So it was nice to see it in the theater and actually see something completed. So congratulations on that. And with that, we'll see everyone next time. Bye.
Okay, see you guys. Bye.
Get it done.